Welcome. My name is Keith Blackmore. I'm one of the producers for the Spark Animation Festival. Well, Bruno Bozzetto is a true luminary in the world of animation. Through his artistic journey of over 6 decades, Bozzetto has created a distinct style characterized by whimsical characters and a blend of traditional and innovative animation techniques. And he's profoundly influenced generations of animators worldwide. But he's best known for his whimsical and thought-provoking short film, Mr. Rossi. Bozzetto's unique style, it blends humor and social commentary. It makes his work both entertaining and insightful. However, it was his internationally acclaimed Allegro non Troppo, a masterpiece that drew inspiration from Disney's Fantasia that firmly established his status as an animation genius. Over the decades, he's continued to inspire with projects like Grasshoppers and Mr. Tao, reminding us that animation is a powerful medium for not only storytelling, but also for profound themes. And his work continues, remains timeless, proving that creativity knows no bounds. And his influence extends beyond the silver screen because he's been also a pioneer in the use of animation for advertising, contributing to countless memorable commercials. However, it is his dedication to the art of animation that has earned him numerous accolades, including Lifetime Achievement Awards from prestigious film festivals around the world. I really cannot underestimate and understate Bruno Bozzetto's enduring impact on the world of animation. He truly is a legend in the field of animation. It is my deep pleasure to welcome Mr. Bozzetto. Welcome.
Hi. Good morning, everyone. I'm sorry for my English. My English is really terrible. And I'm very happy to say few words, explain, come si dice, hoping that you will understand what I say. Anyway, thank you for the presentation. So beautiful. I don't think to be so important like you said, but thank you anyway for your words.
Well, my observation is that your English is 100% better than my Italian.
It is a bad evidentemente it's a bad Italian your because I am terrible in talking in English.
Okay. Well, let's discuss your history. You have such a rich history in animation, and it has various styles, techniques. Maybe you could share some insights into your journey as an animator, how your style evolved over the years.
Well, I think that the evolution is not in the style, but in the content. When I think a film, I wrote a film, I think that is the content that is deciding about the style of the film. It can be very simple, it can be very complex. It depends on what I try to show to you, try to... I'm talking Italian.
That's okay.
Allora, poi me lo tradurranno. Io penso che la cosa più importante per me sia il contenuto, perché è col contenuto che io decido quale stile scegliere nei miei film. Mi è capitato di fare film come Allegro non troppo, in cui lo stile è molto complesso, molto ricco, e altri film in cui con solo 2 righe riesco a raccontare ciò che ho in testa. E quindi credo che io non abbia uno stile. Io credo di non avere mai avuto uno stile. Il mio stile segue quello che voglio raccontare. E posso fare un esempio molto carino. Un bambino una volta ha detto: cosa è un disegno? E il bambino ha detto: è un'idea con intorno una linea. Ecco, questa linea io l'adatto all'idea che ho in testa. Sorry, you did not understand one word, but I said something intelligent. I hope. I hope.
Well, you've had a long journey, 60 years, but one of your most famous characters is Mr. Rossi. He's
Yes.
involved in not just in Italy, but around the world. How did you create? How did you develop this? And why do you think he's still so enduring today?
Mr. Rossi is a real character because I decided to create Mr. Rossi when I did my first film, and my first film is a real situation in which I found myself. I sent my film to a festival, an important festival in Bergamo, and they refused my film. It is normal, it happens. But I saw in the festival films worse than mine. So I decided to tell this story, and I create Mr. Rossi. And the fun is that Mr. Rossi is a kind of caricature of the director of the festival. But I did not made it volutamente, diciamo. It was casualmente, it's not working. Lo dico, I say in Italian. Io ho fatto la caricatura di questo direttore, ma non l'ho fatta volutamente, non volevo prenderlo in giro. È stata una cosa istintiva. Non ci ho veramente pensato e dico la verità, assolutamente la verità. Anyway, Mr. Rossi is a kind of common man, and it works everywhere because Mr. Rossi is me, is you, is your brother or your father, is normal people who is trying to do things that he does not know very well. Maybe he's going to camping, he's going to drive a car, but he's not able. So he's a kind of Donald Duck, I can say.
Yeah.
Italian Donald Duck. Ecco, that is sorry for my English.
No, it's excellent. We get it. So yeah, this is why it's universal in that regard. He's a caricature of everybody, and that's why it's so endearing. I can see that. Now, it continues to work today for those reasons, as you mentioned. Now, looking at your feature film that was done in the 70s, Allegro non Troppo, it's a classic. I was talking to some animators last night, and that was the first thing they mentioned. We're going to be interviewing Bruno Bozzetto. Oh, Allegro non Troppo. That's their favorite. Well, we know the inspiration for it was Fantasia. But what was the challenges? What do you remember with making that? What was the challenges when you made that during the production of it?
Well, like Fantasia, that is born around the Sorcerer Apprentice. That is the first idea that Disney had creating Fantasia. And after they decided to add other pieces to make a long feature because it was not, come si dice, remunerativo. They were not getting money with one short, and it has been very expensive with the conductor, the orchestra, the classical orchestra. And that is the same for me. I had the idea to make a short about the bolero. I was listening the bolero at the radio, and I had this idea of a march, a march with a lot of characters, but they were going nowhere, not a direction, not a meaning, only marching. And that was my first idea. And when I discussed this idea in the studio, they told me, why don't you do other shorts and we do a long feature? That is the second idea. But the first idea was just Bolero of Ravel. And so we start making the feature. And at this point, I was obliged to make a reference to Fantasia because we were doing a different film, because I tried to put history inside every piece of music. And Disney made more paintings about the music, except of the Saucer Apprentice of Dukas. That's a story. But the other were more a description of a feeling.
That's right. More emotional and conceptual.
More emotional. And I try, on the contrary, to create stories for every piece of music. And that is very, very difficult. Because sometimes you start a story, the story is working very well, the music is fitting, but at one point, the music is going in another direction, and the story obliges you to make another direction. So sometimes they were the separate, and I lost many beautiful pieces for this reason.
Right.
But Fantasia, I love Fantasia. I saw in the cinema, paying the ticket about 12 times.
Wow.
Because I discovered the classical music thanks to Fantasia. So I'm very grateful to Disney, very grateful to that film that I consider the best in the world. So I don't want to have a comparison, come si può dire, comparison, un paragone tra Fantasia e Allegro non troppo la trovo sbagliata, perché because Fantasia is at the top level of del mio cuore, my heart.
Right. Well, I remember I show Nutcracker Suite and Sorcerer's Apprentice to my classes regularly. And I remember Walt Disney, in a quotation, he described, for example, when he did Nutcracker Suite, that it was that emotional response he wanted. It wasn't about a story, but using shapes and colors to generate emotion. And but what you were doing, what you're doing with telling a story is so much harder. What you're describing, blending animation, music to tell a story, that's hard. Yeah, but it's awesome, and we all know your film, and it's a classic. It's a classic.
Thank you, thank you so much.
Yeah. Your work also incorporates a lot of cultural references and elements of your home country, Italy. How do you believe that animation is a medium for exploring and celebrating cultural identity?
Well, in reality, I did not use very much Italy. I try to do international films because I don't like very much to do things related to Italian situation or personal situation. I think that a film must be understood by everybody in the world. So there are some relation, especially one film, Europe and Italy. I made Europe and Italy that is a absolutely Italian situation.
Yeah.
In this case, yes, because it is very funny how Italians reacted to many situations. And it is funny to compare with international situation. We are very different. But the funny is that when I send a film on the social, I receive so many letters, letters, explaining that they are identical to Italian. So from Greece, from Brazil, from Israel, they say we are the same as you are. So that is very funny. I thought to describe Italian situation, but it is not true. Everybody says that they are the same.
Well, that's what's funny, because in identifying something that's deeply personal, it's also universal.
Maybe, but that has been very funny for me. It is a discovery, really a discovery that I didn't think that it was possible, but it happened.
Yeah. Now, some of your short films, of course, you have really utilized them to address issues. I was thinking Grasshoppers and Mr. Tao. They are sharp satires. Maybe you can elaborate on the role of satire in your work and how you use it to convey your message effectively?
Well, I think that humor is very important in every civilization. I think that one nation that has not humor is very dangerous, can be very dangerous. Humor is fundamental. And I think that is the best way to talk about a serious and dramatic situation. If you use humor, you can.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah.
are so much serious, the people cannot be so much interested. But with humor, you punch the people in the face because they recognize themselves in the situation. And at this point, the film is becoming useful because they learn something. But we are talking about them, about their life. So they see themselves in the situation, and I think that is very important.
Yeah, you're really holding up a mirror to them and letting them see the ridiculousness of their situation because they're so
Bravo, bravo.
wrong about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is
So
what I was saying.
you do it
Yes.
so well, though. You do it so effectively in many, many of your films. How many? I mean, I was trying to count how many short films have you actually done? Do you have an actual number, Bruno?
300 about, but I consider television serial,
Right.
educational films. I do not count the commercial. The commercial, they
Hmm.
are out, maybe are 100 and 100, but entertaining film, I think about 300.
Wow, wow, very prolific. So, in doing that 300 films, I mean, you've used every kind of animation technique from 2D with a pencil to stop motion, CGI. How do you decide
Not very
which?
much.
Not
Stop
a
motion.
little bit of Flash.
Now, Flash has been my first discover in the computer animation. I discovered Flash because an agency asked me to do a little film using Flash, and I did not know. I don't like very much to use. I don't like to read. I want to learn using the program. So I made many errors, many, but I discovered how to use it. And I think that it helped me very much because I did one film completely alone.
Mm.
And that is important for me because for small films, for little things, I need a great care of every particular. And so I can do only alone. And I discovered that it is gave me this possibility to do a film um, quiet. Maybe I stop for 1 week and after I restart again. So I work in my home, no problems, no studio, and this is fantastic. I discovered a new world, and the computer helped me very much. And I love computer. I love 3D animation. I love Flash because I save a lot of time and I can do many things that before were difficult to do. At my times, you know how long was the work to do by hand every drawing and color, very complicated. Now you can make films easier in an easier way, faster, and especially, and that is the most important thing, you can see immediately the result.
Yeah,
So when
exactly
I
right.
do an animation, I see how it works. At my age, it was so long. You have to wait 1 week before to see what you did. And
Yeah, you
so
have to draw it and then you have to shoot it frame by frame.
now working, you are going to school in the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you can see the result and change and correct. That is fantastic. So this is why I love the new technologies.
Yeah. What software are you using now? A lot of animators are using TV Paint.
Well, now nothing now.
Oh,
Now I'm working. I had the Flash, but now I don't use because it's been changed. I don't like it very much. So
right.
I without any program, but I'm working with come si dice, iPad. This is my iPad, and I work with Procreate. And I
Wow.
read
Okay.
Procreate now is producing a new program for animation. So I will be very interested to know. It seems to be very interesting, very modern and very easy to use. So I hope so I can start again to make some little animation. At the moment,
Excellent.
I make a cartoon and I make a 3 short film, but with the studio, and I use other animators. So I have a big studio in Florence, another one is in Bergamo, and I make one film is in 3D, the other one is classical animation, and the third two is classical animation, and they are made on music, classical music. It is again, I have Beethoven, I have Chopin, and I have Verdi,
Oh,
and
wow.
we are working on this project, and we will finish in October, November.
Oh, wow. That's exciting. Which reminds me, when you mentioned those towns in Italy, our friend Sandro Clouseau
Ah,
wanted to say hello as well. He's in Florence and he's teaching, I think, at the
well,
little Nemo, at the Nemo Academy.
Nemo, I know very well them. Oh, yes,
Yeah,
fantastic. Nemo is one
yeah,
of the best academy in Italy. Very
exactly. Oh,
serious.
yeah, Libra. Yeah.
Yes, fantastic.
So we talk about the tools, but as you know, it always comes down to story and timing and humor. These are essential to a film's success. And your films often deal with the human condition, existential themes. So how do you write? How do you use humor and satire to really get into these deep subjects?
Well, humor for me is instinctive. I mean,
Mm,
when I wrote a story, I write a story. For me, is normal to have always some humor, some situation, because as I told you before, it's easier to send the messages if you use humor. Um, I think that I like very much. Not a dramatic story, but story that talk about the human situation. For me, the man has been always the center of my stories. Every story starts from the man, from the human condition, especially in the relation between man and nature, men and animals. I think that this at the moment is one of the most important things, and we are losing the importance of the relation between nature and man.
mm.
So it's an argument that has been always interesting for me. My first book were Conrad Lawrence, Desmond Morris, books that told about come si dice ecology. No, I forget the name in Italian too. Okay, they are talking about the relation about human and nature.
Nature, yeah.
And, many of my films have this
Theme.
theme. Bravo. Theme.
Yeah, theme. Yeah.
Yes. Uh, the problem is to tell these stories without being didactical. So I don't want to teach things. I want only to show. I want that the people reflect and thinks about some situation. And I think that one of the most important thing in my work is to show different point of views.
Mm,
Um, we are used to see our point of view.
Yeah.
I think that it's very important to see others' point of view. And this brings you to think more and to try to understand new dimensions, new possibilities, new point of view.
No, I agree in that regard. I mean, when we look at the history of cinema, not just animations, cinema and movie cameras opened up the world to us because we didn't see it before.
Yeah.
The Lumiere brothers, what they did, showing us the world. Because before that, how did we see the world? But through cinema and animation, we got to see how others lived. And now we can understand. That's why your contribution is so important, because you're helping us understand not culturally Italian, but also the world experience and such as well. Just thinking, with talking about men and nature, are there any films today that excites you, or have you seen anything that no?
I read about many films that I think could be interesting for me, but I didn't see, not yet. Now, at the moment, I look, especially television or films that I record. I don't go very much out in the cinema. I don't like the big cinema with the people eating popcorn and sell. I don't like. So I prefer to think in my house, in my home, and
Right.
then have my time and reflection, and it's different. It's better.
I didn't send you this quite, but what do you think of films today?
What do you feel?
Yeah, what do you think of cinema today? We look at the films that are coming out today. What do you think of it today?
I see that there are coming out many beautiful films. But I see after 3 months in television, but the cinema is very alive, and I see many interesting films. I don't like very much the spectacular film.
No.
And now there are a lot of films about special effects and sound effects. I prefer the film. I mean, Woody Allen is much important for me that I know I can see 3 times the same film of Woody Allen is better than seeing a film with Spider-Man or Superman. I don't like them, but the young like them. So I think that every people, every age has a kind of film to see. At the moment, I prefer to see film with dialogue, with an interesting story, with humor, and with a good direction.
Yeah. Even myself, I go back to the classics, even just enjoying Chaplin and Keaton, right?
The other day, I saw Keaton in one scene. It's fantastic. No one can do a scene like that. When he's falling with the rocks falling down on the mountains, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. I don't know how he did it. I don't know. It's incredible. Charlie Chaplin is another master.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So how do we? So looking at the young people today that go to animation school, like Nemo Academy, how do we nurture that creativity and storytelling skills in young animators today?
What I can say that they must be free to express what they have inside. I'm not a teacher. I think that is the most difficult profession, because you must understand what is inside every person, but in the same time you must leave him free to express himself. So I don't know. I try only once going in a school and trying to teach, and I see how difficult it is, because they have ideas. Maybe I see that they are wrong, but I must leave them try. It's only making errors you can understand that you are making errors. If you say, no, this is not good, maybe he did not try. He did not understood very well what he did.
Yeah.
And this is why I think it's difficult. Maybe you know better than me because you are teaching, no?
You're absolutely right. And you have to let the students fail in some ways so that they learn. But the other observation is to learn from the mistakes of others so that they don't have to. So yeah, and that helps grow too. Like, no, we've done this. We know what works. Don't do that.
Oh, I know it's very, very difficult. Very difficult.
Because then, I mean, 60 years, a lifetime in animation, you must have a lot of experience of what works and what doesn't work. And
Yes, but it's very inside me. I
yeah,
feel that something is not working, but I cannot tell to you why. It's my
right,
feeling.
right. It's too
And
intuitive. Yeah,
it's impossible to express. I feel
right.
that it's not working, but why? I don't know why. And maybe I am wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, but I am used to try anyway to do what I have in my mind, and maybe I am wrong. Okay, but I try to do.
Yeah.
Uh,
You mentioned earlier you're working on uh, three pieces. So Beethoven, Mozart, and Verdi.
Very yes.
Yeah. Tell us about this piece, this animation you're working on, your latest project, please.
What I'm doing now,
Yeah.
well, I can try to very simply express the idea. One, the Chopin is very poetical music, very subtle, very atmospheric music. And I have a story of a little spider who fell down in a toilet, not toilet. What do you show your hands? Do you?
In the sink, in the basin, in the basin.
Yes, basin. Okay,
Yeah.
he's falling there. He cannot come out from there because he's this is one story. And I don't tell the story. I said I tell only the atmosphere. The other one is again about the war. I think that the war is always actual, and we are every day you open the newspaper, they talk about war. The history of the man is always about wars, and that is stupid and terrible in the same time. So I try to make a graphic thing, very graphic, very easy drawing, very clean, and you see all the arms from the beginning. So he started with the claw, and other with the rock, and you arrive till nowadays and see what is happening now. Um, and the third, it is Coriolano. The second is Verdi. And the third, Coriolano, is very powerful music. And I try to, it's a kind of documentary. It's not really a story. It's a kind of documentary in which you see uh, how many animals the man destroyed in his life on the earth. So from the beginning, he tried to kill, to kill. In the beginning, it was normal. He had to survive, and it was right. Now it is not normal. Now
Mm.
we can live without killing all these animals. And I want to show how the man, starting from the necessity, is arrived to a cruelty to kill for nothing, only to go to restaurant and eat. Well, this is what I have in mind, but I don't know what will be the result because the film are not finished, and I don't know till the end. I don't know what I'm
Right.
doing.
Well, hopefully you'll have it finished and we'll see it at Annecy maybe next year.
I don't know. Annecy was fantastic. I've been in Annecy from the first festival,
Right.
And I've been there for, I think, 15 times. But in the beginning, we were about 300 people, 200. Now they are 8,000,
Oh
9,000.
no. I think this
I
year we had
don't,
almost 15,000. 15,000 there this year.
the worst. And so I don't like very much because in the beginning we were used to meet all the people together. We were meeting, going to eat, going to make a picnic together, and we know each other. I discovered a lot of things about animation. McLaren was there, John
Wow.
Abley, and people, Richard Williams, they were there, Alexeyev, and I know all of them, and it was a discover for me. Discover a new world, a new technology, new point of view. Now you meet Italians because there are so many that you meet only just some Italians, so you don't learn anything. That
Yeah.
is sad. It's sad.
Not that you can't learn anything from Italians. Just that.
Yes, it's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It's different. It's different.
Well, this has been excellent. I really, really deeply appreciate your time that
I'm
you've taken.
sorry for my English. I
Oh,
don't speak English from about, I don't know, 5 years. So I lost everything. I lost everything. Sorry.
I know you probably have many, many, many more stories. Is there one story you'd like to share with us about from your career that you'd like to tell us?
Sorry. For a new film, you mean?
No, no, just in general, because you had so many great experiences and so much you've had in your past 6 decades. You think back,
Too many,
what
too many
stands out?
stories.
What stands out in your life? What was the highlight for you that you,
But
besides
maybe
your daughter, besides your family?
I have been in Los Angeles for when we had the nomination for the Oscar, and I've been at the festival, at the night, à la soirée. We went with a big car, like a limousine. I don't know, and the driver was dressed like a pirate.
Was that with Spike and Mike?
Yes, he was dressed like a pirate, and we were
Yeah, it
in
was Spike Decker. Spike Decker.
so it's been so funny that night. I was very fun. A beautiful experience for me to see the festival, to see the
That was your film Grasshoppers that was
yes,
nominated.
grasshopper.
And I
And
think
I
you lost
was
out
very,
to,
very. I was together with Nick Park.
right.
Nick
Yeah,
Park had the two films in competition.
that's right. Two
And
films.
they were so beautiful that I was sure that he had won, avrebbe vinto, would have won, avrebbe vinto. Ragazzi, come si dice, avrebbe vinto. I was sure to lose, not to win the Oscar. So I was quiet. I was happy. I was relaxed.
Right. Just enjoy it.
Fantastic evening, because if I had to go on the psichiatra
Like the stage, the platform.
on the stage,
Yeah.
I was dying. Was possible for me to accept to go there. So it has been an interesting story. And the fun is that I gave the ticket to the composer of the music of Grasshopper,
Yeah.
and he went with my parent to the dinner with all the actors.
Right.
And we went in a bar eating, I don't know, some sandwich.
With Spike. With Spike and Mike and Nick.
Mike was not there. He left after the beginning.
Yeah, I've been working with Spike and
Really?
yeah. So he sent me some films and I have a 16 millimeter print of Grasshopper.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He was distributing in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
no, he's I love what he did and what their contribution, Mike and Spike, what they did in opening up the world of animation to us. We would never have gotten to know your films.
No. I had a nomination because they show the film in the cinema there, because you know that you are obliged to have a distribution in
That's
California,
right.
while you cannot participate to Hollywood, to Oscar. Anyway,
The-
if you see him, say bye bye to him too. Okay.
I will. I will. I'll say. I'll say that.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, Mr. Bozzetto, it has been a pleasure. It's been my deep pleasure. And thank you very much for this time that you've taken. Have a great day. And I hope your daughters enjoy their island visit. And we look forward to seeing you in person.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And have a good day. And
There's the
yeah,
twins.
you have the day. Ecco le twins, eccole là ancora. Ciao.
Yes.
Sì.